What is up, cool cats of the interwebs? It is your girl Haley back at it again with another episode of the pre-review crew. We are kicking off 2024 with another episode of your favorite podcast. Now, let me introduce your favorite cast of characters that I always have with me. I have Brennan
Hello again.
and I have Mike.
What's up? Part two.
So, to kick off the beginning of the year, we didn't preview this game, but we will be giving it our thoughts. Normally in January, it is pretty slow since it is the beginning of the year and the holidays are over. But this one special game came out. It is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It is an action adventure platformer Metrovania game. It was developed by Ubisoft Montpellier and published by Ubisoft. It came out on Switch, PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One, Jesus Lord, there's so many, Series S and X on January 18th. It's currently sitting at an 87 top critic average, and 94% of critics are recommending.
Yeah, wow, this game looks really cool. The art style looks really cool. Very flashy. I don't know, it's cool that it's like the Prince of Persia is getting a revitalization. And I'm just gonna get this out of the way really quick before I forget, but all of the comments under the trailer, at least on the official Ubisoft page, a lot of Persians, allegedly, people who claim they are Persian, are singing Ubisoft's praise for not only doing a full Farsi dub and subtitles and stuff, which is awesome, but also just bringing Iranian culture to the forefront in the AAA space. And that's really cool because groups of people that need and want representation should get the representation that they need and want. I said it's so much better the first time, but the second time is just as good. It's okay.
I'm so sorry, everybody. This is our second take of the podcast because OBS updated and then screwed everything up. Anyway, let me throw in my 2 cents really fast so we can move on. I think the art style reminds me of Hades a little bit, but also I wanted to shout out this game just because the game has been around forever. The first game came out in 1989. I feel like it is definitely a beloved game, and if you ask anybody who follows Assassin's Creed, they would say that they believe that AC is sort of like a spiritual successor to Prince of Persia. So I just wanted to highlight that. It's just a really gorgeous game and looks like a lot of fun. And is definitely scoring really high with critics, which coming out of Ubisoft, at least for me, is a little mind blowing. So I think this is lining up to be like a big surprise for 2024. Like I wasn't really sure how well this game's going to do, and it's doing a lot better than expected. And I know I'm saying that like super early, but it's a little surprising.
It's doing. It looks like it's gonna do well. I played ones from the early 2000s, The Sands of Time and Warrior Within, and this is like a far cry from those games because those games were 3D. But yeah, I just think it's nice that they're going a different direction, trying something new with the franchise instead of just hashing out the same old thing over and over and over. And apparently, it's working because critics are loving this game. So it looks like their risk paid off, and I just wish more developers would take this kind of risk, and create stuff that we haven't seen before.
Always have to praise the company that kind of goes, back to the drawing board, nose to the
Yeah.
grindstone, etc. What's interesting though is that like I feel like I haven't, to be completely honest with you, haven't really heard much about this game prior. Um, and then I feel like the past day or two, it's just been blowing up everywhere. Like I saw an ad for it. I use Opera GX, and even on Opera, there was like an ad for it, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then a couple hours later, Haley was like, "Oh, we're talking about Prince of Persia," and I'm like, "Why is this just blowing up all of a sudden?" And I guess it's just because I wonder how many companies have advertising and marketing like pre-made, um, but then depending on the response to the game, they kind of temper it, you know. Because like I know at work, whenever we do paid ads, it's we usually have to set it up through like a system, and I think like a third party agency kind of handles it for us, but we can turn it on and off at will, and suggest how long that we run it for. So I wonder, like, if a game if a game comes out, or depending on pre-orders or whatever, I guess there's certain metrics that they can use to sort of figure out whether or not the marketing beforehand is going to be effective or not. But I think that like as soon as this game came out, or like the reviews, I don't know if it's not out yet, is it? I should have checked before I said something, but
Uh,
Prince of
as of
Persia?
recording, yeah, as of recording, it comes out in like 2 days or something like that.
Wait,
okay, yeah.
no. What?
Yeah,
Oh
we're
yeah, it
recording this on
does.
the
3 days.
15th.
My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I guess once they probably timed the ads. I wonder if they timed the ads before the reviews, like the embargo came out, or if they waited for a bit to see how well it was received, and then afterwards they were like, "Okay, dump it, everyone, full marketing, go, go, go." You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. I wonder how like the marketing and advertising departments work for publishers like this, and how much not how much in advance, but what kind of like metrics they use to determine whether or not the marketing is actually going to be successful. Because I guess if a game comes out and the embargo gets released and it doesn't score very well, I wonder if that. I mean, that has to impact their advertising somehow, but I just wonder to what degree. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I yeah, I saw this game because the Rad Brad played it, and I was like, "Oh, like what is that?" And I was watching it and I was like, "Holy shit, like that's Prince of Persia." And I was like, "When like where the fuck did this come from?"
yeah,
So I was like really taken aback cuz I was like this was not on like I said, January is always it's a very weird month because games come out, but they're games that no one really cares for, no one really thinks about, no one really like gives two fucks because what's the beginning of the year? Nobody has time for that. So, I feel like this game sort of just came out of left field and is really killing it right now. Not only because it's a great game, but also it doesn't have anything to go up against. Like, if you were to drop this in, I would say, like, the summer or sometime around, like, October, I don't think this would be getting the hype that it's getting right now because it would be overshadowed by a whole bunch of other games. That big triple A titles. That would be coming out around that time of year.
yeah. The only other game I could think of this month is Tekken 8, but even that's like the last week of the month.
Yeah, like January is just hard. So like I think I think it's good on Ubisoft for releasing this right now. I feel like it really gives it the attention that it deserves, and like I said, it's an extremely gorgeous game. So I'm really happy for it. And in our first take, I mentioned that the one of the things I like about Ubisoft, and some game creators do this, some don't, they do their research, and that's one thing Ubisoft has always done, especially with the Assassin's Creed series, is they try to do their research. I believe they've even talked about in the past with the Assassin's Creed games of like going to those countries that their games are set in to get a feel for the area and the environment. Um, so it's great to see that they carried that research over into this game, um, and that they're bringing in the representation. I think that's fantastic.
Ubisoft, as many faults as Ubisoft gets, their attention to detail to bringing a world to life is like phenomenal. I mean, just look at every Assassin's Creed game and the recreation of those cities, and like I don't know. They even went so far as even in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, there's a whole like discovery mode, which I've always thought was the coolest thing, where you just run around the entire map and just learn about every single thing. Essentially taking all of their research and then just them giving it to you, like teaching you about these places. And I always just thought that was phenomenal. Like maybe they shouldn't, if they ever stop making games at any point, hopefully they make 3D world spaces so you can go back and like live in a time and place that you could never do. That's what I think they've always been really good at. So like
Mhm.
I have to give props for them for that. And I'm glad that they took that same attention to detail and love for the world that they're trying to create and bring it to Prince of Persia as well. It seems like the community that it was hitting, it's really hitting them. So that's always they get points just for that, I think.
So what Brennan is talking about is called the Discovery Tour. You can find it on Ubisoft's website, and they have one for Egypt, ancient Greece, and the Viking Age, and it's basically just a free roam version where you can just run around and discover like all the landmarks and stuff like that. If you own the game, you get that for free already as part of having the game. But if you don't want to buy the game and just want to buy the Discovery Tour, it is $20, and it goes into details about relics and buildings, and it looks like people and the area and stuff like that. You can like watch like a little video, and it'll just like show you a brief glimpse. But yeah, I think stuff like that's like super cool, and it's interactive and it's fun, and I feel like it also gets, especially like the younger generation who's playing these games, it gives them those facts that they might not pick up in school or really retain. Like it's a very interactive way for us to learn about these ages.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great learning tool in the future. Is like kids are getting better and better access to technology in like grade school. I think this kind of thing would be great because I know at least where I live, every kid gets loaned out a Chromebook, for the school year to do their work on. I think it'd be interesting if they did introduce this to like the education realm, and kids go on their Chromebook and go through all these, like like you said, ancient Greece, Egypt, and they'd be able to learn through that.
There
I just
was
think that'd be really cool.
there was a history class that I took, and we had to give a presentation on important buildings from World War II. And I got assigned a church. I forget which church, which one. But I found on their website that they actually had something similar to the Discovery Tour. It was basically a sort of like a point and click, and you could like, it was 3D, and it would take you all around the church, and it would zoom in on things if you clicked on it so you could see it clearly, and you could zoom out. And it was sort of just like almost like a Google Maps street view, if that makes sense, of the inside of this church. And like I remember being like, dude, this makes my life like so much easier. Like I'm literally just going to like show this and talk about it. And that's literally what I did. But like stuff like that's cool because it's like I didn't have to, not to like cheat anybody out of the system, so I don't do this, but like it was an easy way for me to show my peers the church in the way that it's standing today. And there was like a slider so you could like see it then and now, outside of me just showing them like images and photos. It was just a different version. So I think like things like that, and like if you turn it into like VR, things like that I think are the way of education educating the future, especially in ancient times.
Oh yeah, totally. And is like, especially since it's interactive too, probably hits kids way more efficiently than just like you said, just like static images or whatever. Having the interactive element of old versus new, that's super cool.
Mhm.
So, anyway, we are now going to kick it over to the games that we are most excited about for February. Um, because there are actually, games surfacing again. So we are kicking it over to Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. It is an action role playing game. It's developed by Psy Games and published by Exceed Games. It's coming out on PC, PS4, and PS5, and it's releasing on February 1st. And just a side note, I do we know if this is a timed exclusive or is it just going to be Sony and PC?
Um, from what I know at the current moment, it's just PlayStation and PC.
Okay, got it.
Um, yeah, so I'm the one that picked this game. Grand Blue Fantasy was a mobile game in Japan, that never came to America. Um, there are ways to play it in America, but it never like had an official release in the States. And they created a fighting game. That's how I know what this series is because I played Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Um, the second fighting game just came out about a month ago now, and it's blowing up big. Like it's in the fighting game community, it's becoming a really popular game. So when I saw that they were doing this, which is basically it's just a console version of the browser game, the mobile game that released in Japan, and it's gonna finally give Americans like a taste of what Grand Blue Fantasy really is. So I'm really excited for this. It essentially it looks like a really Tails. I love Tails games, but this looks like a better built Tails game. If like you want kind of description of what it is. You have your party members and just the combat and everything, the way you go into fights. It's very Tails like.
The first thing I thought of when I saw this was this just looks like a souped up Tails game, which is awesome. I've been following this a little bit because I saw a Reddit thread about this the other day, and it just looks like a solid RPG. But now I'm curious. Wait, so because I didn't look it up, I thought that it was an older RPG, and so is this just like a console port of the mobile game, or is this just like a redone souped up version? Like, is this just the mobile game?
This is a really souped up version of it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. That's really cool, honestly. Like, I don't know. It just. I'm such a sucker for like action JRPGs. And like this looks like this is giving me like Xenoblade Chronicles, but also Tales like kind of mixed, and it's like, oh, I really like that. Like I guess the maybe like the story or the atmosphere. It's giving me Xenoblade vibes with the sort of action, you know, RPG gameplay of Tales, which is awesome. That's amazing. And I should finish Tales of Arise. I never finished that game.
Neither did I.
No, I got so far. I got to like the last dungeon, and then I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. But this looks really cool. Maybe this will be another JRPG that I play 60% of and then give up halfway. Woohoo!
I already have this pre-ordered.
Yeah, I want to know how this.
Like,
I want to know what you think about this one when you play it because this looks really cool.
The
yeah.
you're really really small and everything else is really really big.
Essentially, yeah.
Are
This
you talking shit?
No, I'm just saying I was watching a
Oh,
fight scene.
are you talking about the game? Right. I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about me. I was like,
No, we all know that you're
I'm
small. It's
not
okay.
small.
You're like
I'm
you're
painfully average.
you're
Okay,
like Evie.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm average.
no,
It's
Brennan,
You're
fine.
Evie
Brennan's
size.
average.
They're not that small. Okay,
You're
I
they're
mean, most of
average
you're
Brennan's
human
you're
average.
size.
you're a corgi. It's okay.
Most of Brennan's average, but he's pretty big where it counts.
You got little short stumpy legs.
Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah, this game's really flashy. It's really nice. There's a lot to do. They put out a There is a demo for this game out right now for it's not on PC, but for PlayStation owners, you can download the demo right now, and it's really fun. Like it's the demo does show like this is something I think people should be looking out for.
Dude, we got a lot of really good JRPGs coming out this year. I'm not gonna lie. Like even in the next couple months, it's like I was tossed up between my next pick and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Spoiler: we did not
Yeah,
pick out. But like between this, the next pick, and Final Fantasy in just February alone, it's like, ooh, damn. Hopefully that's not all of them. Like, keep it coming, man. Ooh.
I will say the one thing that I'm happy about is that the standard edition for the PS5 is $60. Oh,
Nice.
just I can hear the crowds screaming with glee because a lot of the games have been making the PS5 version $70.
yeah.
So it's great to see that.
Oh, this is really cool.
Armaya's made for life.
And it's cool how it's like coming out like 10 years later.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I never got to play the mobile game. I always wanted to, but yeah. So I'm excited. I'll finally be able to jump in the world of Grand Blue without
They,
the fighting game. That's not the fighting game.
they've only ever made. Okay, so I'm looking at the other console games that they've made. They've made a couple, but it seems like it's mostly. They have Grand Blue Fantasy Verse, and then I guess they came out with another version. Oh, like a month ago. Oh, yeah, in
yeah.
December.
Yeah.
With Arc System Works. Oh, so that's probably really good too.
Yeah. I've been playing that a lot recently.
Oh, damn, cool. Well, that's good. That's like a really interesting way to like almost advertise your game in a way. Is come out with like a throw your fighting game to Arc System Works, and then just come out with your actual RPG a couple months later. Like, kind of a smart move, honestly.
Yeah, 'cause everybody who played the fighting games would be like, "Oh shit, this is really good. I should go play the RPG."
Yeah, and then as soon as you start playing the RPG, you kind of have some attachment to some of the characters. If I mean, if you're playing them in the fighting game, like
Yeah.
you're going in with some context. And that's kind of nice. That's actually really cool.
I think Side Games knows what they're doing.
They have something called Project Awakening, which they describe as a high-end console game that has been in development since about 2018, if not longer. And I need some updated information on this because the singular photo I have of it looks really fucking badass. And that's it. I love that. Anyway, we are now going to kick it over to Brennan's pick for February. It is Persona 3 Reload. It is a role playing social simulation game. It is developed by P Studio and published by Sega. It's coming out on PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One, and Series S and X on February 2nd.
Take it away, Mike. I picked this one for you.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure Brandon picked this because of me. Um, Persona good. Persona go by.
Yeah,
That
I mean, yeah.
we need more context here. So for the losers in the back who know absolutely nothing about Persona, why is this one called 3? Why is it called Reload? What is it about?
So
Okay.
this
Uh,
is a
I-
remake of Persona 3. What were you saying, Brennan?
no, Mike, take it away. Mike, take it away.
Uh, this is a remake of Persona 3, which released on the PS2, I think. Um, Years and years ago. It's been a while now. I'm old. I played this when it came out. Um, so Persona 4, got Persona 4 Golden. Persona 5 got Persona 5 Royal. There was a second version of Persona 3, but it wasn't. It was for the PSP, so it wasn't really like a really big remake the way Golden and Royal were. So this is kind of them remaking 3 in that kind of fashion. They updated the graphics, they updated the combat system, and it's just a great way that we're going to be able to introduce people who played Persona 5 but never any of the older titles. This is going to be a great way of them really being able to experience Persona 3, because that Persona 3 was the one that just kind of really blew the series up.
So
So, go
yeah.
ahead, Brenna.
No, it's Persona 3, but it looks like Persona 5 and then amped up to 11.
Yes.
So just it so basically it's going to be a masterpiece. Like like already it's the opposite of Dead on Arrival. It's masterpiece on arrival.
Yeah.
I think the thing that is interesting to me is that there's so many Persona games, but they are so very different. Like, I'm sitting here looking at like a list, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is Persona 3 Dancing in the Moonlight? It's a fucking rhythm game.
Yeah, they did really games for 3, 4, and 5.
I would never fucking expect that. Also, Persona 5 has one, two, three, four. There's four different spin offs for Persona 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
there's a
that
couple
good.
more on the way. Yeah.
Like, my mind is blown. So, like, I can completely understand why they are redoing the older ones. Are they going to redo 3 and 4? Like, is there any word?
uh, right now, we only know they're doing redoing 3 in this fashion. Um, yeah.
Because 4
We'll
came
probably
out in 2008.
yeah.
The only thing about 4 though is that like 4 if I remember correctly, 3 wasn't really in the same vein as 4 where you can like walk around town and stuff, right? Like wasn't it 4 that kind of like moved everything to like a semi, walkable zone?
3, you had areas that you could walk around. It was, yeah, 4 that kind of really opened that up.
Okay. So yeah, my only thing is that like I would guess that they wouldn't do 4.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I feel like
Especially,
I
I'll
don't
say,
know.
yeah, I was supposed to say especially because we're expecting 6 any day now,
Yeah,
or at
I
least the
feel like
announcement of Persona 6 any day now.
they would probably, yeah, I guess that makes a lot more sense. They would probably divert most of their this to me like they probably actually maybe they did have a bulk of their team working on this, but um I feel like remaking something like this takes I actually don't really know because this is like a full on re remake. Like it's not just like a remaster, it's like a full remake. So like I don't know
Yeah.
how much development power that would require. Like I guess I don't know if they've split the team, half works on Persona 3 Reload, half works on Persona 6 or whatever, but I feel like this would be at least in terms of like writing and pre-conceptualization and all that. They already have the story made. They don't really have to change too much. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously they can add to it, but they don't have to. come up with an entirely new story. And I feel like that takes a lot of pressure off of the dev team. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would just want them to do 6 instead of remake 4 again.
That's what I'm assuming they're gonna do.
So,
Um,
to give a little bit of uh, a side note from what Wikipedia says, and if you listen to your teachers, Wikipedia isn't always right. There's 3 teams. There's Team Manix, P Studio, and Studio Zero. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like P Studio works very closely with Team Manix. And Team Manix is the one who's primarily responsible for developing the main stories for Persona.
Interesting. Okay.
It says the second production team, which is P Studio, would instead uh, become the primary in charge of developing and overseeing all games and other products related to the Persona series after all previous entries in the original had been developed by Team Manix. So it looks like they sort of do all the spin offs.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that Atlas is full steam ahead on Persona 6.
yeah, yeah. We're just waiting for the announcement now.
And then their third
Um,
studio does stuff like Catherine.
Man, I've always wanted to
me,
play Catherine.
Dude, that
me too. I never got a chance to play that.
I haven't either, but I've like seen it played, and I honestly, that game would give me too much fucking anxiety.
Yeah.
But it's
Like
good. Anyway, sorry.
story is like puzzles aside, like all of I feel like even just the main story would just have me sweating the whole time.
Dude, Laura Bailey voices Catherine.
Did she really?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god. That's cool. I remember I think I watched like an explanation of the story or something, or I watched like a super cut of all of the cutscenes without the gameplay. And it was just so fucking weird, like in the best way possible though. Like, oh man, such a good one. But I've never played it myself, and it's one of those things where it's like I should go back and do that, but yeah.
I need more games like Catherine.
Yes, the world needs that.
Definitely. But anyway, let's not get distracted. We got one more game left to talk about for February, and that is Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. It's an action role playing game developed by Don't Nod and published by Focus Entertainment. It's coming out on PC, PS5, and Series S and X on February 13th. Now, two things. Count it two. Two things I want to point out here. This is one of the few games that I would say that we've talked about that is coming out solely on next gen. We haven't
Yeah.
had many,
Um,
I would say within the last year, at least that we've talked about on the podcast, that have come out solely on next gen.
yeah, I think we're starting to hit that time. The PS4 and the Xbox One have been around too long, I think. And I feel that now we're going to be hitting a time where a lot of games are going to be just, you know, the current gen. It's no longer next gen. It's current gen now. So I feel this is one of those games that's going to be, pushing for that.
I really wanted to talk about this game because Don't Nod has done. So their first game was Remember Me, and that came out in 2013. And I really, really, really loved that game. I never got to play it, but I really wanted to. Um, so when I was like looking this game up, I was like, oh shit, they did. I was like, Don't Nod did Remember Me. And I read that Remember Me was a critical failure for them.
Hmm.
An absolute failure. They only sold about 1 million copies, but it tanked them badly. And then they went on to make because of Remember Me, they did restructuring, and they went on to make Life is Strange and all the games for that. They also did Vampire. I think it's is it pronounced Vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that. I didn't. I wanted to play that one, but I didn't. I honestly just didn't. I think it did mid. Um, So this is going to be sort of like they've branched out. Also recently they did a game called Harmony. That's a narrative game, and Jusant, which is about a lone wanderer. So they're getting out of that like narrative driven aspect, and Banishers is sort of like the first game that's going to be big like this for them outside of Vampire. So I honestly have no fucking clue what this game is about. It just looks cool. You have two main characters. Um, they're apparently something called banishers, and they're like spirit hunters. Um, yeah, I don't. It just looks so cool. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
It just looks cool. That's all I keep coming back to. That's just why I'm like, yeah, I want to play this. I want to play this just
No.
because it looks cool.
I'm in the same boat as you. I have no idea what the fuck this is about. Um, but I've been watching the gameplay, and it's actually really interesting because of the way you go between the two characters. Because one of them is alive, and the other one's a ghost. And so you're able to switch it, and when you switch it, it looks like you go into like a different realm or something. Like you see the spirits of the enemies when you turn into main character who's a ghost. So it's very interesting just watching them, watching the gameplay, how they jump back and forth between, the mortal plane and the ghost plane.
Um, I so when I first saw this game, um, I it reminded me of Forspoken a little bit with the like art direction. It looks a lot prettier than that with a lot more detail, and it doesn't look like it has these like wide open blank spaces like Forspoken does, but it was sort of giving me a little bit of the Forspoken vibes. Um, and I was trying to, I forgot the name of Forspoken, so I looked it up, and the company that made Forspoken closed.
Oh,
Mhm.
did it really? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't know that.
they so they closed and reorganized and merged with Square Enix.
Mm.
So they are part of Square Enix's Creative Business Unit 2, and that is the side that has developed Dragon Quest, Near Bravely Default, and Octopath Traveler. And the company has only put out two games. They put out Final Fantasy. What's X in Roman numerals?
10?
10. So this would be 15. So
Yeah.
Luminous worked on Final Fantasy 15 and Forspoken. And those are the only two games that they worked on as Luminous. And then they closed right after Forspoken came out. I feel so bad now.
I just keep watching this trailer over and over, and like it looks really interesting. I like the historical fantasy element. Um, it seems like, I mean, a lot of the just in the clip and in the like marketing, it seems like they're holding hands a lot. So that has to be really symbolic. I'm guessing that they're a couple, or they were a couple. I hope the narrative here is really good. I mean, I'll always say that, but like, I just hope the story here is really cool. Um,
I mean, based off of what we've gotten in the past from Don't Nod, their stories are very immersive, so I feel like we don't have to worry about if the story's going to be good. I think we more so have to worry about is the gameplay going to be good, because you got to think about what Don't Nod is known for.
yeah, fair.
So I think that's the only thing that worries me, because you're going from, your simple point and click, choose your choice, make your own story games, to something that's very close to being a AAA title. So I think that's the only thing that sort of worries me.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on this one and see how it does. Like I said, just watching the gameplay does look really interesting. Um, trying to think if it reminds me of anything. I'm kind of coming up on a blank, which probably is a good thing.
I
Um,
I did very much have this did kind of remind me of or Forspoken, especially just in terms of like the like Haley said, the art direction. It has that
mm,
realistic, but there's just something like slightly off about the realism.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know, but it very much reminded me of Forspoken at first. I also thought this was the same team, and then I had to go look through Don't Nod.
Yeah, like that's why I mentioned Forspoken, because I was like, this is almost, in my opinion, I think this is going to turn out to be what Forspoken should have been. If they can get the
oh, okay.
gameplay right, I think this will turn out to be what Forspoken should have been. But again, Don't Nod isn't really known for gameplay, they're known for their stories. So I'm very hesitant. But this is one I definitely want to pick up. I think I'm just going to wait until the reviews come out to see if it's justified, because I did the same thing with Forspoken, and once I saw those reviews and I saw how bad the gameplay was, I was just like, I can't pick that up. So
Mhm.
I'm super excited about this one just because it looks so cool. And you give me the title of Ghost and I'm in. So yeah, Ghost. Let's do it.
Oh, this looks cool. Definitely looking forward to seeing how this does.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
especially if this turns out well, I think this will be a great direction for Don't Nod to sort of branch into. And it seems like a cool story as well. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
think this game has promise.
wait, you broke up a little bit. What did you say, Mike?
Oh, I said I think this game has promise.
Oh, definitely. You figure the publisher Focus, they did Atomic Heart, they did the new Warhammer game, they did Atlas Fallen. We don't talk about that here. My Time in Sandrock, they did A Plague Tale. So, Hood, Outlaws and Legends. Ooh, what is that? Anyway, I feel like this I think Focus Entertainment's pretty solid. I feel like um this game lines up with what they've already published, so I think they'll be fine. We'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah, hope so.
But so this has been a very short episode. So one of the things I wanted to do, just to beef it up, but also since it is the beginning of the year, is to sort of give our predictions, how we think this year is going to go, be it the video games that are releasing, how we think the industry is going to do, any sort of predictions, any sort of, I don't know, E3's gone now, so what is everybody gonna do to get their video game news out during the summer? Um, yeah, sort of just give our opinions on how we think this year's going to go.
I think that this year it'll be hard to top last year. Um, because last year was just one of the best years that we've had in gaming in a while. Um, I think it'll be a little difficult to top, but I think kind of like what Haley was talking about before with the the push to the next gen. I think that we'll hopefully see more next gen to the point where we're not saying next gen anymore and we just start saying current gen. And we refer to the last gen as old gen. Hopefully that happens this year because yeah, uh, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S have been out for a little bit now. So is it really next gen if it's been out for a while? Hopefully we see a push to see more games of that next gen quality, AAA, indie, whatever. Um, Hopefully we see some really good indies. Upset about E3 not being here, but we haven't had a Nintendo Direct in a while, right? Am I losing it, or have we not had one for a few months? Did I just
Yeah, it's
miss?
been a couple months.
Right. Okay. So I feel like my prediction is that this next one's going to be hot. They're going to drop it and it's going to be hot. It has to be because they haven't in a while, right? So my prediction is that this next Nintendo Direct is going to be insane. It has to be. It
Um,
has to be.
so there's a rumor going around that there should be a Nintendo Direct coming up in February.
Boom. Hopefully it blows our minds. I don't know what they could possibly have on the horizon. I feel like they've kind of kept their cards close to their, kept their cards close, especially since we haven't really heard from Nintendo in a while, but
They're
I'm hoping Nintendo has a banger year. I mean, I know we had Tears of the Kingdom last year, but I hope that there's just something more. Maybe we'll see a Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever.
oh
Maybe
yeah,
that will
there's
get announced.
big rumors about that.
Yeah,
And now, yeah,
so
that's what I was going to talk about.
hopefully we see something big from Nintendo. Again, last year was good for Nintendo. Tears of the Kingdom was great. I don't know. I feel like we can have a bit something a bit more from them. I feel like my Nintendo love lately has my well for Nintendo love has been running kind of dry lately, and I need to I need to satiate that. You know what I mean? Like something's
Mine.
got to give, man.
Um, just to give some context, the last Nintendo Direct we had was in September.
That's crazy. That's okay. September, October, November, December, January. It's like 5, 6 months, man. That's a long time. Normally they do one like every like what 2, 3 months.
Yeah, it looks like it was
Yeah,
going about 2 to 3 months.
So like, I just feel like this next one's got to be huge.
yeah, because one of my predictions was that we're going to get. I don't know. They're not going to call it the Switch 2. I already know Nintendo. They're not going to do that. Um, but one of my predictions was I think we're going to get the announcement of whatever the Switch successor is going to be. I don't know if it'll come out this year. Maybe for the holidays if they do announce it earlier on in the year, like in next month when they have this February 1. Wouldn't surprise me if they that's when the big reveal comes. I have heard that there are dev kits out in the wild, so that would mean games are being developed for it. So I'm thinking this year, we'll get the big announcement of, there's a new Nintendo console coming. That's going to be on the horizon pretty soon.
Good.
I I think the one thing that I would like to see with a new Switch is just more power, if that makes sense. Um, like for example, back when we talked about Disney Dreamlight Valley, um, I wasn't sure what I wanted to get it on, and I was between my PlayStation and the Switch. And I ended up getting it on the PlayStation because a lot of the reviews for the Switch port said that the Switch is underpowered, like way too underpowered for
Yeah.
that type of game, which is really weird because, in all honesty, the Dreamlight Valley isn't intensive. It's not mesmerizing. It's nothing new. So I wouldn't think that a simple game like that would be too intense for the Switch, but it is. Which is surprising because it can run Breath of the Wild. So I'm sitting here like, maybe give it just a little bit of juice so it can play games like that. But also, I
Yeah.
mean, look at when the Nintendo Switch came out back when I was in college. That was like right around what, like 2015?
Wow, you're old.
I
I was
hate
gonna say
you.
I'm old. I already graduated college when that shit came out.
Um, let's hold on.
From there was an insider for Nintendo who did see the dev kit, and apparently they had Final Fantasy remake running on it. So I mean, I think they are going to be putting a little bit of juice in this thing.
2017.
All I want, all I want is 60 frames. If I can get a handheld device that has 60 frames that isn't a Steam Deck, I would go ballistic. And then if you take it one step further and make like do what PlayStation 5 did to a lot of PS4 games was make all of those games 60 frames. Like if Nintendo were to somehow come out with a new console, right, and then you could run Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom in 60 frames, done. I was done. I take my money. Take my money. That's like I feel like that's the only reason why I don't really like playing games on the Switch much nowadays, unless it's like a first party exclusive. It's simply because I cannot go from 30 to 60 frames anymore. I just can't. 60 should be the standard now. It should be. I'm sorry. And anyone that says you can't tell the difference, you're wrong and I hate you. 60 frames is smooth. It's like butter. So if you can do that with the Switch, take my fucking money. I don't care how much it costs, okay? Just I need to play Zelda in 60 frames. That would be crazy. Just you know what I mean? Am I can't be the only one. I'm not the only one. And this is not a novel take.
My thing is you have handhelds the like the Steam Deck. I think Lenovo has one as well. Like there's a couple out there. I think Asus might have one. Um,
Yeah, they do.
so like you have those. Don't get me wrong, they do look bulky. Mike, I think you have a Steam Deck.
Yeah, I got Steam Deck. It's a bit bigger than the Switch.
So it is a little bit bulky, but I will take bulkiness over the lack of being able to run a video game as simple as Dreamlight Valley. Like, I don't care. Make it bulky. Uh, put the nicer screen in there. Let me run these damn games from my couch. Or from the car. Or at work on my break when I'm trying to avoid people and I don't want anybody to talk to me. Like, why? And, like, I get it. Back in 2017, it was the first one out. They had to give it a little bit of time. But we're in 2024 now, babe. Things have changed. We got touchscreen flip phones. This is the way of the future. Get your shit together. I really do want a Steam Deck.
Yeah, I for Christmas I got the OLED version. It's really nice. And that's why like I feel if the Steam Deck can do what it can do, um, it wouldn't surprise me if whatever Nintendo does next has like a lot of power behind it. Um,
I hope so. It has
yeah,
a lot to compete with, especially
Mm-hmm.
with the Steam Deck.
yeah, because then you also have like Halo was saying Asus has theirs, and then Lenovo has one as well. So when the Switch came out, there really wasn't much competition as far as handhelds go,
Mm.
because at the time the only competition they had was with themselves with the 3DS. But now companies are coming out with handhelds that can play, you know, our favorite PC games. So it's coming to the point where it's like, no, they Nintendo has to once again, step up if they're gonna really do anything spectacular with the next, Switch 2 or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah, like Logitech has one. Um, there's a whole bunch of like little retro ones. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing. But it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I also almost feel like PlayStation, in a sense, is almost getting there. What they have like those like the backbone one. I think it like uses your phone to basically do remote play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like and I mean I don't know how that one operates. I've just seen a lot of people really like talking about it, and then you have Sony's what was the one that they actually put out that's basically sort of like a Wii U for the PlayStation?
Portal.
Yeah. They put out the Portal. So like I kind of feel like that's Sony's way of sort of like going, well, let's see how people take this and see if we should give it another shot. Uh, dude, if they made another PSP, I think I'd go fucking bonkers. Um,
Oh, PS Vita was like one of my all-time favorite
dude, I miss my PSP so much.
handhelds.
I have it. I have my PSP actually. I just don't have a charger for it. Um, I played Rock Band on that shit so much. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but like I I want, that's the thing. I want these handhelds and there's a market for them. It's just a matter of who is going to come out on top. And like I said, I will, if Nintendo gave me a really good Switch, I'd sell my Switch in a heartbeat and go get a fucking new one. I just would. And then I would never fucking touch it outside of using it for Jackbox games, but I'd spend the money on it. I am a slave to capitalism.
Yep.
Aren't we all?
But anyway, uh I I got a couple comments. I think one I'm gonna start with. I just want to see more games on what should be considered the current gen. I found a Reddit post that was updated on the 5th of this month. Oh no, they last updated this on last year. So last year in January, February, May, there were only 37 games that came out either on some variation of PC, PS5, Series X, and S. So that could be PC and then Xbox, or PC and PlayStation, or just PS5 or just Xbox. But there were only 37 games as of last May. That's almost halfway through the year.
Considering how many games came out last year, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of not a lot. Like 37 sounds like a lot, but when you consider how much shit came out last year.
Yeah.
And these are just the games that have no version of last gen. So these games did not release on PS4. These games did not release on Xbox One. And I'm just mystified because I feel like these games, not maybe so much in terms of Sony, definitely in terms of Xbox though. I feel like having these last gen options are holding these games back. Just because I feel like there's definitely a big jump between your Xbox Series X and your Xbox One, and then your PS4 and your PS5. Like, why are we still... You can walk into a Target now and get a PS5 or a Series X, or you can go on Amazon or go to Walmart. Like, they're not hard to find anymore. And I understand that, especially the PS4, was a great selling console. Like last gen was mind blowing and was around for years. And then you roll into COVID with the new ones, and they're hard to get, but it's been a couple years now. These games, the consoles aren't hard to come by. So, like, it still blows my mind that we're still, like, we're not utilizing the current gens for their full potential. And I said this about when we talked about Baldur's Gate, um, and Microsoft's whole if you want to release it on X, you have to release it on S. And I feel like that is also a very big hindrance to their self, just because the S is so underpowered and the X is so overpowered. So it's like creating two different games because they're two different consoles.
Hmm.
As for everything else, I don't really have much to say. I mean, E3's gone, so I think we're just gonna see everybody basically doing their own shit. Um, I'm excited to. I'm not excited. I'm very curious to see how the Blizzard and Activision, not Blizzard and Activision, Microsoft and Blizzard slash Activision merger goes. That's the right. That's the right one, right? I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I completely forgot, but then I saw like a whole bunch of people on fucking Twitter going, "Oh my god, that guy isn't in charge anymore. We can finally talk." So, yeah, I'm just curious to see how that goes. I want to see if Kojima releases anything about his new game coming out with Jordan Peele. Um, Honestly, I'm trying to be open-minded about this year. I think this year is I think everything is sort of back to business from COVID, and I feel like we're getting back into the swing of things. So I'm super excited to. I think this year is going to be the year. I think this year's really gonna fucking
Yeah.
pop off. So,
Because like there are a few games that I'm like hoping get announced. Not announced, but like officially revealed. Because I know I want. We're talking about Persona earlier. I'm hoping Persona 6 gets the official announcement. We're talking about Nintendo. I mean, I would love it if in February they announce a new mainline Mario, and if we finally see Metroid Prime 4, um, that'd be a pretty cool thing for them to finally reveal, because we know it's been development for like 37 years now.
Yeah,
So
it's
it'd
been
be
a
amazing
while.
if yeah, it'd be amazing if we finally got to see, even if it's just show me Samus in engine, and you know I'll be happy.
Is GTA 6 coming out in 2024 or 2025? I can't remember.
They didn't say. They just gave us that trailer. They didn't say anything.
If I had to guess, I would say holiday this year, but
uh, mm,
I know Konami's working on a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, can I tell a story really quick? I don't know. I
oh
actually
wait,
don't really.
hold on, pause. Let me finish up my bullshit
Oh
that I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
do.
Sorry.
This year seems like it's just going to be very interesting. You have Rise of Ronin looks really good. That's by Team Ninja coming out in March. Um, Destiny, another game based off of Asian mythology at the end of the year. And just like a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't have dates just yet. Hades 2, Greedfall 2, why that's actually a game, I don't know. Another Like a Dragon game, Paper Mario, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, that's gonna be fucking bomb. A couple Star Wars games, Splatoon 3, another South Park game. Um, yeah, this year is gonna be. I think this year's gonna be fun, and we already know that there's a whole bunch of shit that hasn't actually been talked about. So I'm excited, a little scared, and I feel like I'm going to go broke. And then let me say my piece on GTA. After that big data breach, not that like the what's the word that I want to say?
The
Leak.
leak?
Yeah, the leak. After that big leak that they had, I feel like that might have pushed them back. But it was funny because apparently T-Pain's going to be in GTA. And I know that because I follow him on TikTok, and he apparently said that he can't do his GTA 5 roleplay anymore because he's working on GTA 6.
I saw that headline. I thought it was so funny.
I was like, this is great. T-Pain just seems like the coolest guy ever. So I'm super excited to see in what capacity they put him in. Anyway, okay, that's all I got. Back to
Save my story for post stream because I don't want to dox myself.
oh god. Um but yeah, that's that's all we got for this episode of the pre-review crew. As you can tell, we are super excited to see what the year holds, and we hope that you stay here with us throughout the whole year and experience it with us. So we will wrap it up here, and we will catch you next time. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will catch you on the flip side. Goodbye.
I
I love you. I think
Now he's having doubts.
I'm getting cold feet.
I think that's a call for
ever since
divorce.
ever since his wife left him.
Ever since my wife left me. Oh.